into the world with the electronic environment is that the audience becomes workforce.
One of the things that I think we also tend to discount is the porosity of communities and organizations. And a guy who was a founder of Sun Microsystems many years ago said that, the best people to work on this or that problem don't necessarily work for you.
Peering. Okay, it's not just about my people within the boundaries of my company, it's who are their peers.
You do not any longer bring a top physicist in or a top engineer in to tackle a particular problem in mechanics. You bring in people from biology and psychology. You bring them in from all over the map. Saying, now here's the problem. You tackle it as a team. You're just closed off now.
The best people to work on this or that problem don't necessarily work for you. And I'll add, and they probably never will.
They work on it without any of the specialist knowledge. The specialist simply says, look, I've been up against that problem before, it's insoluble. The team doesn't know enough to know. They're not specialists enough to know.
You will not bring the specialist whose specialty the problem is.
Jerry Hagel put it together. You just provided them with Kleenex.
No, I didn't. He gathered those quotes from my stuff. Out of just that one discovery came the book Mechanical Bride. This is practical criticism applied to the advertisements of the 1940s, right. 30s and 40s. And the book that we wrote later, called Culture's Our Business in the 60s, was a study of advertising, the only other study of advertising. Mechanical Bride was ads before TV, Culture's Our Business is ads after TV. If you own that icebox or that car, then you notice the ads very much, because this is how you get your satisfaction. Down and get the good bread. This kind of Everybody has they tend to specialize in one or another of the medium.
And a guy who was a founder of Sun Microsystems many years ago said that, the best people to work on this or that problem don't necessarily work for you. And I'll add, and they probably never will.
The alphabet drives people toward extreme forms of egomania and competitiveness. But that is only by people who take it seriously. There are very, very few people who are serious about letters or about alphabetic performance. It's a tiny group of specialists. But in general, though, there is an effect side effects on many other people. But the really intense
this stuff is great. hilarious. McLuhan was quite the comedian at times.
Yeah, interesting person gathered over the years. At the same time, he can be quite the SOB at times.
Morrison.
The researcher is a man who deliberately creates interfaces in order to make discoveries. He deliberately sets up situations that will mutually irritate one another until you suddenly get a flash. Insight. Yes. The real gripe we have about the beats and the hippies and the teenagers and teeny boppers is that they're so primitive.
That's right.
And we're trying to force them back into a literate context and sort of down rover. And
Understanding media, the extensions of man, was like my good nightmare.
Or on the shape of the cheap wit of the New Yorker.